Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Kempton Park here on Boxing Day. It is Monday, the 26th of December, 2022. We're going to look at all the stakes races, including the King George. But before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world. Let's look at the stakes action from Kempton, races 2 through 5. The second race to 12:45. It's the Grade 1 Long Walk Hurdle. It's a Grade 1 event for Class 1 horses, going for a $108,000 purse. Race for 4-year-olds at upwards here. Field of 5 horses going the distance of ground here, 4,900 meters or 3 miles and 1/16 over the hurdle course. Gonna take the 4-horse Paisley Park as a top selection. Let's go 4-2-1 in the TriCast trifecta. 4-2-1 TriCast trifecta. I should have chugged that sparkling water right before this race. I feel like I'm going to have a heart attack. Hopefully I don't during this video. But the 4-horse Paisley Park, this 10-year-old gun by Oscar. Emma Lavelle trains. Aiden Coleman gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the long-distance hurdle at Newberry, 3 miles on the 25th of November, actually my birthday. First off the bench, first start of the season. He finished second by a neck that day. He sat back early. He was jumping well late. He just missed late, but he ran his heart out off the bench. Coming here to Kempton today, should get a good trip, and I think he could find some winning ways. He runs good on the heavy ground, and I think he's going to handle it today. Heavy-ish, on wet ground. Heavy will have to be a question with. But 2 back in the Champion Stayers Hurdle, Punchestown, 3 miles, 28th of April. He finished 5th by 5 1/4 lengths that day, and he just really never showed up that day. He stalked, he was on the drive, and just not excelling. After a long, tough campaign, I just think he was a tired horse there. And then a Cheltenham before that, 3 miles in the Grade 1 Stayers Hurdle. He finished 3rd by 2 3/4 lengths that day. And, he sat back early. He moved a little bit late, but it wasn't anything spectacular. He definitely needed the race there. But before then, the Cleve Hurdle at Cheltenham for the prep over the 3 miles on the 29th of January, he won by 3 1/4 lengths that day, and he basically won for fun. That was a very good race and close that day. Coming here today, he finished 3rd in this race last year behind Champ and Time Hill. Champ's running back in this one today. I believe Time Hill might be running later in the card. But this horse, I think he could get the old man could get the legs going here today. I think he could win. It wouldn't surprise me if the young men, the 2-horse Goshen wins for Jamie Moore and Gary Moore. Most recently in the Coral Hurdle at Ascot over the 2 miles 3/8 on the 19th of November, the horse won quite easily by 8.5 lengths. 3 other rivals, he jumped well, he quickened up nicely, very good run. Before that, in the handicap chase at Ascot over the 2 miles and 3/8, he finished 3rd by 50 lengths, and he just wasn't handling it there off the bench. But refreshing here, against these horses over the longer trip, I think he could win. Some of those races over the hurdle, he was facing a little bit tougher horses. I think with the light campaign so far, I think he could show up. 5-1, let's use him. To recap my selection for the 12:45, the second race from Kempton, it is the Grade 1 Long Walk Hurdle. Let's take the 4-horse Paisley Park. Give kudos to the 2-horse Goshen. 4-2-1 TriCast trifecta. 4-2 in your place pot. The third race, the 120, beginning of the quad pot, it is the Grade 1 Kauto Star Novices Chase. It's a Grade 1 event for Class 1 horses, going for a $135,000 purse. Race for novice 4-year-olds and upwards. 5 horses are going 4,800 meters or 3 miles over the chase course. Gonna take the 2-horse McFabulous as a top selection. Let's go 2-4-1 in your TriCast trifecta. 2-4-1 TriCast trifecta. Top selection 2-horse McFabulous. This 8-year-old gelding by Milan. Paul Nichols trains. Harry Cobden gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came 26th November at Newberry. 2 miles 7/8 in the Grade 2 John Francombe Novices Chase, and he won by 6.5 lengths that day, and he won for fun. He jumped terrifically on the front end. Nobody was catching him. Time Hill had a small chance on him, but when this horse got to the extra turn for late, he just won. It was a very easy run. Refreshing here shouldn't be a problem. I think he should get the trip, and I think you win. 2 back in Grade 3 Class 3 Novice Chase at Exeter, 2 miles and 3/8 and 14th of November. He won by 9 lengths that day. Second off the bench. His first off the bench, he just really was tired. But that race at Exeter, he basically won for fun. He was on the drive, but excelling over the drive, quickened up nicely, an all-around good race there. And then at Wincanton on very, very, very fast ground for November, especially for a jumps race. Could have been a abandoned card. But Wincanton, 2.5 miles in the Grade 2 Boodles Rising Star Novice Chase, he just wasn't handling the fast going. He pulled up out of it. It just wasn't his day to win. Like I said, I just don't think he liked the rock hard going. Prior to that, he ran at Sandown last April, 2 miles 11/16 in the Grade 2 Select Hurdle, where he won by length that day, and basically just jumped so well on the front end. It was an all-around good race. Coming here today at 4-5 on soft, on heavy ground actually, I think should suit him well. I'm going to take him. It wouldn't surprise me if the 4-horse Time Hill gets a good trip and wins for Tom O'Brien and Philip Hobbs. Most recently, they ran the horse over at Newbury over the 2 miles 7/8 in the Grade 2 John Francome Novice Chase, where he finished second by 6.5 lengths that day behind McFabulous. And he just kind of stalked that day. Had some decent jumps late, but McFabulous just had the jump on him. Before that, off the bench at Exeter, 3 miles in a Novice Chase, he won by 17 lengths that day. And again, he had a few mistakes late, but he still was out by a bunch to get the job done. He only had 3 other rivals, and then they lost one through the running. But he got the job done. But it wasn't a flashiest race. Definitely need the race off the bench. And then prior to that, in the Liverpool Hurdle at Aintree over the 3 miles and 1/8, he finished 5th by 22 lengths there, and he never really showed up. Coming here today, I think he should get a good trip, and a 5-1, it wouldn't surprise me also, and definitely using your quad pod. But to recap my selection for the third, the 120 from Kempton, it is the Grade 1 Kauto starting off his chase. Let's take the 2-horse McFabulous. Give kudos to the 4-horse Time Hill. 2-4-1 TriCast Trifecta. 2-4 in your place pod or your quad pod here, multi-race scenario. The fourth race, the 155, it is the Grade 1 Christmas Hurdle. Grade 1 event for Class 1 horses, going for a $175,500 purse. Race for 4-year-olds and upwards, field of 5 horses, going 3,200 meters or 2 miles over the hurdle course. I'm going to take here as a top selection as the 1-horse Constitution Hill. Let's go 1-4-5 in your TriCast Trifecta. 1-4-5 TriCast Trifecta, top selection 1-horse Constitution Hill. There's 5-year-old Gellin by Blue Bressel. Nicky Henderson trains. Nico de Boinville gets the mount. Most recently in the Grade 1 Fighting Fifth Hurdle at Newcastle, 2 miles on the 26th of November. Off the bench, he won by a dozen that day, and he just took off clear. He had some easy urging, and, he could have probably went around another 5 miles and still won it easily. That was a very good run. Coming here to heavy ground, coming to Kempton for the first time. I expect him to really run a good race here today again. 2 back, he ran in the Grade 1 Supreme Novices Hurdle at Cheltenham, 2 miles on the 15th of March. Off the bench, he won by 22 lengths, and again that day, he just could have probably went around another 5 times. Wasn't the world's toughest Supreme Novices Hurdle, but it was still a very good one, quickening up nicely and getting the job done. And then right after New Year's last year at Sandown, 2 miles in the Grade 1 Tolworth Novices Hurdle, he won by a dozen. Again that day, he just basically put on a show, not on the front end, but just off of it. Since the debut victory at Sandown, he's been just excelling. Coming here today at 1-5, he's a logical single in the quad pod, or the pick 4 as we would call it here in the States. A slight upset could be the 4-horse Go Royal. I do like his win 2 back here at Kempton Enlisted Company. Came back to run in the Elite Hurdle at Wincanton, where he just couldn't keep up late, but he was again running on fast ground. He's another horse. He should definitely benefit of soft ground, but he's going to have to do a lot to win. 12-1, if you want to use him on the other wagers, you can, but Constitution Hill is a very likely winner in this race. So to recount my selection for the fourth, the 155 from Kempton, it is the Grade 1 Christmas Hurdle. Let's take the 1-horse Constitution Hill. Give kudos to the 4-horse Go Royal. 1-4-5 TriCast Trifecta. It's going to be the only way to really make money with this race. I would single the 1-horse Constitution Hill in the quad pod. Maybe if I play the expensive ticket here, Go Royal I would use also. But, like I said, Constitution Hill should really win. So let's get to the fifth. The feature 230 from Kempton. It is the Grade 1 King George VI Chase. It's a Grade 1 event for Class 1 horses, going for a $337,500 purse. Race for 4-year-olds and upwards. Field of 9 horses, going 4,800 meters or 3 miles over the chase course. I'm going to go with the 6-horse Hitman as a top selection. Going to go 6-2-7 in the TriCast Trifecta. 6-2-7 TriCast Trifecta. Top selection 6-horse Hitman. 6-year-old Gellin by Falco here. Paul Nichols trains. Sam Twiston Davies gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came at Haydock on the 19th of November. 2 miles 3/4 in a Class 2 graduation chase, and he won by 11 lengths that day, and he basically made it his own. He stalked, he got the lead, he jumped a terrific race, and he got the job done. An all-around good race. Again, running on soft ground, on heavy ground should suit him well, and I think he's sitting on a very good run to win. 2 back in the Grade 2 Older Unlimited Handicap Chase at Aintree, 2.5 miles, 23rd of October. Off the bench, he finished second by a head that day, and he just, sat back early, had a few mistakes which might have cost him, but, he might need the race with the high weight there. And then prior to that, the Grade 1 Marsh Hurdle at, Marsh Chase at Aintree, 2.5 miles, 8th of April. He finished second by 5.5 lengths that day, and he just sat back early and just never really could get the winner, who just ran better. And then in the Spirit Chase at Newberry over the 2 miles on the 12th of February, he finished third by 4.5 lengths there. And again, he really just didn't show up and needed that extra turn of foot. But I thought his 2 races this season, he's really been on the improve. I think he could jump a good race here today. I think this old man could get the job done. I think your second likeliest winner in this wide open one is a 2-horse Braves Man's Game for Harry Coden and Paul Nichols. Most recently in the Charlie Hall Chase at Weatherby at the end of October, 3 miles there, he won by 3.5 lengths, and he stayed the trip well, quickening up nicely. It was a very good run from there. Before that, the mid-May Novices Chase at Aintree over the 3 miles, he finished 4th by 30 lengths, and his wheels were spinning, a few mistakes which cost him there. And then prior to that, he ran at Newberry, 2 miles 7/8 to the Novice Limited Handicap Chase, where he won by 3.5 lengths, and he got the job done. He won the Kauto Star Novices Chase last season very, very easily. Coming here today off of a decent run, 9-5. We'll use him in the play spot wager also. But to recount my selection for the 2:30, the 5th race from Kempton, it's Grade 1 King George VI Chase. Let's take the 6-horse Hitman and give kudos to the 2-horse Braves Man Game. 627 Tri-Cash Trifecta, 6-2 in your place pot. So good luck to all, and please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5. Good luck, everybody.